Good morning, students. Welcome to English Kumar Bharti class. Children, we are on the part 2 of the lesson which we have taken from Unit 4, that is 4.2, the Luncheon. Just a quick revision, dear students. We saw in part 1 that finally the writer and her fan, that is that woman, met at Fayotte's restaurant on Thursday at 12:30. The lady had already finished her salmon, fish and caviars, whereas the writer had ordered the cheapest dish on the menu, that is the mutton chop. And the lady was enjoying her luncheon, where she says that it would be very unfair if I don't eat asparagus and leave Paris without having them. Hearing this, the writer's heart sank, and he can't understand that how should I tell her that I can't afford all this. But helplessly, he has to order asparagus for the lady. So let us proceed further. We are on page number 153 of your course book. I'm reading the paragraphs. We waited for the asparagus to be cooked. Panic seized me. It was not a question now of how much money I should have left over for the rest of the month, but whether I had enough to pay the bills. It would be mortifying to find myself 10 francs short and be obliged to borrow from my guest. I knew exactly how much I had, and if the bill came to more, I made up a mind that I would put my hand in my pocket and with a dramatic cry start up and say it had been picked. Of course, it would be awkward if she had not money enough either to pay the bill. Then the only thing would be to leave my watch and say I would come back and pay later. The asparagus appeared. I watched her thrust them down her throat in large mouthful. At last she finished. Coffee? I asked. Yes, just an ice cream and coffee, she answered. I was past caring now, so I ordered coffee for myself and an ice cream and coffee for her. So children, this para tells that now both, that is the writer and the lady, were waiting for the asparagus to be cooked, or I can say the lady was waiting because she wanted to have it, okay, where our writer was terrified. Now he was not only worried about how he would manage his expenses for the rest of the month. In fact, now he was worried whether he would have sufficient money to pay the restaurant bill or not. So the first worry, which is the stress which is going on in writer's mind, is that how I'm gonna manage the rest of the month, because I just predicted that I'm gonna have a decent lunch. I'm gonna spend 15 francs and I'm gonna cut down coffee for 15 days, that is 2 weeks, and in 65 francs I'll manage my month. But now he's worried that this 65 francs is also gone, because we have already ordered caviars and salmon and mutton chops and now asparagus, and he's saying that forget about managing rest of the month. Now I'm worried, and the question is whether the money which I have in my pocket will be sufficient to pay the bill or not. In case if I'll be in the short of money, then oh God, what I'm gonna do? The writer was afraid, and numbers of thoughts started coming in his mind. He started thinking it would be terribly humiliating if he fell short of money, and then at last I won't be left with any option. I would have to borrow that rest money, that short money, from my guest only. Then he thought, no, it would be quite embarrassing, asking or taking money from that lady. Since now I was like, how can I tell her that I don't have money? And so thinking that I ordered so many things for her, though I couldn't afford. And now, when I will reveal that I am in short of money, would be very humiliating. Okay, but then what could I do? I don't have any option left. All these things or all these questions started rising in his mind. Then the writer thought of a trick, of a plan. All this he was just thinking, yet he has not finalized that which trick or which plan he is gonna implement. So he thought for another plan. He's thinking. The writer decided to make up a dramatic story. Let us do a drama that I'll put my hand in my pocket and I'll behave as if my wallet has been picked, has been stolen. But then suddenly he thought that even it would be awkward if I'll say my entire wallet is stolen. I don't have any money, any single penny left. And in case if this woman even won't have enough money to pay the bill, then what will be the scenario? And in this way he was just going on thinking and thinking in a very stressful manner. Whereas on the other hand, the lady was eagerly and excitedly waiting for the asparagus to be cooked and brought. Now, as a number of thoughts came in writer mind, the writer made a firm decision, that is a strong final decision, that if a situation like that came up, which situation? If he fell in short of money, then he would leave his watch at the restaurant counter as a security and ask the restaurant owner that till I don't come back and pay your bill entirely, keep this watch as a security and return back when I pay you later. So this was the idea where he was satisfied, and now he has finalized that I'm gonna do this only. But this is just about the restaurant bill. He is just gonna get rid of restaurant bill. But what he is gonna do with the expenses of rest of the month, God knows. And even he is not thinking on those lines now, because now what is more going on in his mind is how to manage this present current situation. Okay, so when all these thoughts were running in writer minds, the asparagus came and the guest finished them off hurriedly. She hurriedly, in a just large mouthful, she took the morsel in a very large, she took a large morsel. Okay, the writer then asked courteously, politely. Now because he was least bothered, he was like, now why should I be afraid? Whatever the bill would come, forget it. So he thought, now I'll behave very respectfully, since long I was just panicking and I was so worried and all. So let's calm down. And so he asked politely, respectfully to the guest that would you like to have some coffee? On hearing this, the woman jumped at the offer, because this was the offer given by a writer. So she just grabbed the offer and said, yes, she would like to have just an ice cream. See her answer. Just means only an ice cream and a coffee too. My God. And now the writer did not care about anything, because he was thinking that I'm gonna struggle, I'm gonna suffer, and it's me who gonna manage by paying half of the bill or by keeping a watch as a deposit, as a security, and it's only me who's compromising on things. And so far I have eaten the cheapest dish on the menu card, that is the mutton chop. So I am not ordering for myself, let me also enjoy. So he ordered a coffee for himself too. Now he is least bothered. He is like, now let whatever happen, So let us proceed further. There is one thing I thoroughly believe in, she said as she ate the ice cream. One should always get up from a meal feeling one could eat a little more. Are you still hungry? I asked faintly. Oh no, I'm not hungry, you see. I don't eat luncheon I have a cup of coffee in the morning and then directly dinner. But I never eat more than one thing for luncheon. I was speaking for you. Oh, I see. Then a terrible thing happened. While we were waiting for the coffee, the head waiter came up to us bearing a large basket full of huge peaches. But surely peaches were not in season then. Lord knew what they cost. I knew a little later for my guest going on with her conversation, absent mindedly took one. You see, you have filled your stomach with lot of meat, my one miserable little chop, and you can't eat anymore. But I have just had a snack and I shall enjoy a peach. So let's see, students, what these para conveys. Okay. Soon the ice cream arrived. The lady ate the ice cream, and now she strongly is telling to the writer that I believe in one thing, that one should never overload the stomach. That means one should always get up from the meal feeling that one could eat little more. Means in short, one should keep little space empty in the stomach. Okay. She meant that one should not stuff oneself with food, overload. And the writer got the signal, the notification that maybe yet she is wishing to have something more. So the writer asks faintly, in a very formality or in a very soft way, if the guest was still hungry. She replied that, No, I am not hungry. I am just concerned about you. And I am speaking for you, not about myself. She was clear that she did not eat lunch ever. She is telling that I never have lunch. I just have a cup of coffee in the morning and then straightway dinner. She said, and in case if I have lunch, then I make sure that I never had more than one thing for lunch. Then my dear students, what's wrong today if she is saying all this, that she never have lunch, and in case if she has also, and she doesn't have more than one thing, then today so she already had 3 things on the menu. Okay, so that means she was quite impressive, as I told you in the part 1. So now when the writer and the guests were waiting for the coffee, because her ice cream had come and she has already eaten the ice cream, so now they were waiting for their coffee. Suddenly a terrible situation took place. Now what was that? The head waiter, waiter's head, the head waiter came to them with a large basket of huge peaches. Children, what is peaches? Peaches is a kind of a fruit, a peach, something orange in color, a velvety texture. You might have seen, you might have tasted it. The writer realized that these peaches would be pretty expensive, as they were not in the season. It was not the peach season. And then he became that God knows what would be the cost, how expensive it would be. Immediately the guests, very casually, as if she behaved that I am just talking and I am not, I absent-mindedly, I picked one of the peach from the basket. And then she is giving a justification also. The woman gave the justification to the writer that, see, William, you have already overloaded your stomach with lot of meat, and therefore you cannot enjoy this peach anymore. Whereas I just had a snack, and so I could enjoy a peach also. My God, the writer was like, what can I do with this lady, this woman? Children, by now even you might have understood that how smart, how cunning and how impressive she was. So let's see ahead the further paragraphs. I'm on last paragraph of page number 153. The bill came, and when I paid it, I found that I had only enough for a quite inadequate tip. Her eyes rested for an instant on the 3 francs I left for the waiter, and I knew that she thought me mean. But when I walked out of the restaurant, I had the whole month before me and not a penny in my pocket. Follow my example, she said, as we shook hands, and never eat more than one thing for luncheon. I will do better than that, I retorted. Retorted means replied. I will eat nothing for dinner tonight. Humorist, she cried gaily, jumping into a cab. Here, cab means taxi. You're quite a humorist. But I have had my revenge at last. I do not believe that I am a vindictive man. But when the gods take a hand in the matter, it is understandable to observe the result with satisfaction. Today she weighed 21 stone. Okay, so students, let's see the explanation of these paras. So now, even she had eaten her peach, they had their coffee, and finally the luncheon is done for the day. So their lunch is done. The bill came to their table. The writer was horrified that what the bill would be. Soon he saw the bill amount, and on seeing the amount he realized that yes, I have enough money to pay the bill, because the bill came up to 77 francs. But now he was worried that I have come to such a big restaurant. What about the tip? Yes, see how generous the writer was. Even now he is not thinking about himself that what will I do for the rest of the month. Even now he is thinking that I need to give some tip. When we go to the restaurant and when the bill come up, we leave some tip for the waiters. So he is so generous, he is so kind that even now he is thinking for the waiter, and even he is thinking that if I keep tip less, what this lady will think about me. So yet he is worried about his reputation. And as he did not have much money left for the tip, because he has only 3 francs left as a tip, so he left those 3 francs as a tip on the table for the waiter to take. The guest, that is the lady, noticed the small amount. The writer thought that the lady might think that how mean I am because I kept such a small tip, but she did not know about my financial condition, that I am in short of money. And finally they walked out of the restaurant after the lunch. And when they came out of the restaurant after the lunch, the only thought going on in writer mind was that now I did not have a single penny left with me, and entire month is before me. So he is sad from within. When both the writer and his guest, that is a lady, were meeting, or I can say they were shaking hand, they were bidding goodbye. The lady advised the writer to follow her example and never eat more than one thing for lunch. The writer, who was already upset and worried with the whole incident which occurred with him that afternoon, answered very sharply and in a very sarcastic way, in a taunting way, that no, he could do something more better than what example you are giving. He is saying that I'll do more better than following you. William said to that lady. And what was that? You said that do not have one thing. What I'll do is I'll not have that one thing also. I'll skip my today's dinner. Soon the lady got into the cab, that is a taxi, and the lady called the writer humorist. He is saying, very funny, you're very funny, because might be from inside she might have understood what is writer trying to tell. Humorous is very very funny, okay, because he gave a very sarcastic answer. And she went away. Now this last para of your page number 154 again comes to the present situation, that is when they are meeting 20 years later in the interval of one play drama, which we have already seen in the start of the lesson, a story that is in the first two paragraphs. So now we have reached there, the past of the story is done. Okay, now when the writer saw this lady, as I showed you this pic before, that this lady looked plumpy as compared to the pics which I showed you earlier throughout the story, even you can see in the video. Okay, so he says that now I'm meeting her nearly after 20 years, and I'm not a revengeful person, I'm not a vindictive. Here vindictive means revengeful. I'm not a revengeful person. But he clarified that but I'm secretly happy from within. You know why? Because he believes that when God decides to get involved in any matter, it is sure that the result is always satisfactory, and he is thinking that God has got himself involved in my matter and has taken the revenge from this lady. Let's see how. So he is saying, today when I'm meeting this lady in the interval of the drama after almost 20 years, I'm seeing that this lady has put on a lot, and today she weighed 21 stone. That means 133 kg. OMG. Okay, and so he is secretly happy from inside that the way she fooled me 20 years ago, and though I didn't want to have revenge, neither I took revenge, but God just try to take the matter in his hand and has given a satisfactory result to my matter. So that was all about the story. So it is sure that the result is always satisfactory. Of course, thus the personality of the woman brought great satisfaction to the writer, because now the woman has turned quite fat. Okay, so this was about the story. The writer in this story has shown us a sense of humor and also a sharp understanding of human nature, as I told in the introduction para of the writer. He uses humor to depict the character of the woman, where this lady just pretended to eat only one thing for lunch but ate the most expensive things available on the menu, while the poor writer had only a mutton chop. And after that, even she tells the writer to follow her example, that is to eat light and healthy. So this was all about the story. I hope you have followed, my dear children. So that was for the day. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.